Okay, so today we're going to be talking about what happens when you have the moon in your fifth house in your Vedic astrological chart, and the moon in the fifth house is also your Arudha Lagna. Everything I say is going to be true, even if it's not your Arudha Lagna, but this is what we're focusing on here is the Arudha Lagna. So, if you're not familiar with what your Arudha Lagna is, you can go to astrology.thunderwizard.com. And today, for the next month or so until the beginning of June 2020, excuse me, the beginning of January 2020, 50% off. So, what is the moon when it is your Arudha Lagna in the fifth house of your Vedic astrological birth chart? So, first thing you need to know, I'll go very quickly if you're not familiar with what the Arudha Lagna is. The Arudha Lagna is a very special point in Vedic astrology. I have come to realize that the Arudha Lagna is probably the most important thing when it comes to your success in life, career-wise and in general. And in my experience, the Arudha Lagna is either your superpower or your curse. It's one or the other. And what makes the difference between it being your curse or your superpower is just simply you knowing what it is and allowing it to shine forth in your life. Your Arudha Lagna is really your best luck charm. And when you let it out and you let yourself be seen according to that placement, in this case, if you have moon in the fifth house as your Arudha Lagna, then let that shine, because that is what's going to make people want to compensate you financially and career-wise with success and money and everything you can imagine. So the Arudha Lagna means the mount of the ascendant or the rising sign. In Vedic astrology, we don't use the sun sign as your sign. We use your sign as your rising sign. So even though in Western and in Vedic, my sun sign is in Virgo, that's not my sign. My sign in Vedic is Leo, because that is my ascendant, that's my rising sign. So when you understand that the rising sign is how you view the world, it's very important. How you view the world will create your personality. So Lagna means screwed into place. When you were born, you were screwed into place, whatever your rising sign is, and whatever the sign is, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, whatever it is, that's the lens through which you see your life and your karmas and how it plays out, and it determines your viewpoint. But that is not who people see you as. You may have a strong connection with your viewpoint, with your Lagna, with your rising sign, but that's not how people see you. People see you according to what is also called, the Arudha Lagna is also called the reflection. So it's sort of like if you walk into a room and there's like a glass or a mirror, and there's somebody standing behind over there, and you walk in and you see this reflection of somebody. It's not really who they are, but that's what you first see, and that's what you first interact with. This is what happens when you go out into public. Whenever you interact with people, especially for the first time, what ends up happening is that they're going to see a reflection, which is you, but it's not from your perspective of yourself. Because here's the thing. We want people to know us for who we are. And trust me, you really don't know anybody. I mean, you get, after a lot of time and a lot of dealing with people, you might get a lot of information and think you know somebody, but the truth is that you never really know anybody. Not completely. And nobody knows you completely. But the good news is that your Arudha is it's your superpower, and it wants to help you. And so it's just like a costume, it would be like Superman. Superman would be his Arudha. It would be Clark Kent is who he is. He's mild-mannered, he's nice, but his Arudha is Superman. And that's how people want to see him. They see him as Clark Kent, they're just like, Clark Kent, he's guy. He's not that smart. And for some reason, even though he looks exactly like Superman and has this really muscular, athletic figure, just because he's wearing glasses and a suit and tie, we just forget about him. That's what it's like when you go around trying to show people who you truly are. They're like, no, I want to deal with that part of you, that reflection. That's really cool. So, what is moon in the fifth house? So, moon represents your mind. Your mind is not your intellect. Your mind is not your brain. That's Mercury. Your mind is the part of you that can meditate, part of you that can reflect the soul. It's the part of you that allows you to connect over large distances. It is your intuition. It is also your emotional life. And that's what meditation is. Part of meditation is to learn how to balance the emotions so that you can experience them, connect through your emotions, but have that objectivity. So this is when the moon, the mind is in its happiest place. The moon represents nurturing. It represents the mother. It represents the nectar of immortality. It represents good healing liquid type of nutrients. It represents the moonlight. Moonlight is very healing. So if you ever need healing and it's a full moon, just sprawl out in front of the full moon, naked if you have to, and just soak those moon rays up. They're very healing for you. So moon in the fifth house. What is the fifth house? The fifth house is creativity. It is children. It is performance when it comes to like acting, singing. The fifth house is the natural placement of Leo. Leo is a performer, the attention on Leo. So the moon comes in here and the moon wants to perform. But it's not the sun, it's the moon. So singing, writing from an emotional perspective like poetry, even healing. You can heal, but you heal through the fifth house. So you would heal through maybe in front of crowds teaching. The fifth house is also esoteric spiritual knowledge, knowing deep spiritual things. The fifth house is mantra. So singing of kirtans, like if somebody has moon in the fifth house and it's in a good placement, this is somebody who could sing in kirtans. Kirtans is when people sing mantras and people come together and sing mantras, religious type of singing. So what this means is that depending, of course, what sign it's in and whether it's in a good placement and the aspects, you have to know all that stuff as well. So I recommend getting a reading, astrology.thunderwizard.com. When you have moon in the fifth house, what ends up happening is that people see you as perhaps a very intuitive, very smart, very educated healer. They may see you as a performer, a dancer, a singer, an actor, a writer. They see you as somebody who has deep spiritual knowledge of healing. They may see you as a maternal figure because a moon in the fifth house means that you would have strong emotional attachment to your children. And you could be very nurturing to other artists. So artists may see you as somebody that can be very nurturing to them. So these are the things that people see when you first walk in the room. Now, what do you do with this knowledge? Well, bear in mind that you are a combination of different things, but you're going to have a strong personal identification most of the time with your rising sign. You'll also have a strong emotional attachment to your moon sign. So when moon is your Arudha, this is good because you already have a strong emotional attachment, which means that you have a strong identification. So this is very good. So what I recommend people do with their Arudas is to make a list. First, listen to this, take notes on everything that I've said about what moon in the fifth house is, and write all those things down. Now you're going to want to find out what sign it's in, because let's say if moon is in Sagittarius, for instance, in the fifth house, well, that would mean Sagittarius in the fifth house is a very spiritual placement. So that would mean that the light of Jupiter, the priest, is shining on the studies. The fifth house also means like higher studies, that the mind is meditating and studying on higher things, higher spiritual things. So people would see you as this performer priest type of person. So, if it's Aries shining on you, then there's a warrior aspect to it. See what I mean? Depending on what sign it is going to make a big difference. So you want to find out what sign it's in and then write down 2 lists. The first one is all the things that you like about Moon in the 5th house. Second list is the most important. Write down all the things that either you don't understand, don't relate to, or are embarrassed by. The stuff that you're embarrassed by, that's how you need to present yourself. Literally wear the costume of Moon in the 5th house in whatever sign it is. Go out in public like that all the time. The more that you do that, the more people will experience you. It's almost like you appear out of nowhere and they see you. They think they're seeing you for who you are. Because it's your moon sign, you're going to have a strong connection to that too, so it will be helpful. But if you have issues with it and you're a little uncomfortable about really letting people see that healer performer, then really let it out. Because the more that you hold back, you sabotage your own success. Okay? So that's my analysis of Moon in the 5th house, Arudha Lagna. If you are interested in this, subscribe, hit the bell button, and we'll finally get to yours. And of course, go to astrology.thunderwizard.com. Right now, we have a 50% off. We have a 50% off. Let me see if I can find it here. Is that it? No. We have a 50% off of all astrology readings from now until the 1st of January 2020. So take advantage of that while it's still going on. And if you're new to the channel, then please take a look at, hang on one second. If you're new to the channel, please take a look at, one second here. I'm trying to show you my other links here. If you're new to my channel, take a look at my other links here, neo.thunderwizard.com, the 4 tools that you need in order to master this universe and have the universe bow to your will. And courses.thunderwizard.com has everything, all of my books, all of my DVDs, all of my spiritual teachings and my streaming video courses, the astrology link, the rune link, certifications, everything. Everything is at courses.thunderwizard.com. All right, so that's it. Go to astrology.thunderwizard.com if you would like to get a reading and find out what your Arudha Lagna is. Okay, that's it. Talk to you soon.